And I think anyone that is interested in change and transformation, now is the time to upskill. We've got AI, so machine learning. So yeah, that's the reason the rate of change is going to get faster, and governments and policy, and that's not going to be able to keep up with it unless they start adopting that technology as well. So the rate of how we live is very much going to be um, set by the businesses that are delivering this technology and solutions to people. More than what governments can do to keep up, because I think that they're gonna get slow.
I create clear thinking and decisive leaders who can amplify their influence. Contact me to find out how I can help you or your organisation. And today our conversation is with Danny Barber. How are you doing, Danny?
I'm good, thank you, Judith. How are you?
I am good, thanks. I'm wondering, Danny, do you have something that you enjoy more than anything else, like some passion?
I'm very passionate about family, my kids, and the moral compass in me. When no matter whatever happens in life, my family does always come first. But second to that, and it is a close second, it's throwing myself into work and projects. And I'm a bit of a creator. I like starting projects, or I like improving things. And I like to get them to a point where they're self-sufficient and sustainable. And then I like to go on to the next thing. And I do. A lot of people say, well, work isn't your hobby, or it can't be your passion. But for me, it is.
No, I totally get it. I always think it's weird when other people tell you that something can't be your passion. That's just so strange to me.
That I can certainly, yeah. It's, people telling you how you should think and feel it's absolutely bizarre.
It is bizarre. So, Danny, tell us a little bit more about you.
So I'm ex-army. I joined the army as a communications systems engineer, and my first and only unit was the global communications networks, and we had radio networks, IP networks all over the world, and I'd just come out of training, and this particular posting was maybe designed for someone who was a little bit more senior and experienced. But yeah, I threw myself in. I started reading the manuals. I started learning the services, and soon enough, I became a subject matter expert for one of the particular systems that we supported. And I didn't really look back at that point. And it was everyone would come to me for the answers, and that was a nice feeling to know that I was at the top of my game at that point, at that particular time in my life. And that's really where the idea of systems really started to enter my mind, because I think people go through life, and I suppose I do experience it at times, but people go through life and they have very linear or transactional experiences through life, where and that's the way that things are designed. Customer experience, user experience, it's meant to be one step at a time, and you're meant to enjoy that particular moment in time. Whereas with myself, whenever I'm met with these touch points, I start thinking about, right, what came before that? Where did that come from? I start thinking about the data trail, the data lineage in my mind. I start thinking about what's going to happen next. How could we optimize that? And this happens every day, all the way throughout the day. I don't think I've got all the answers to improve things, but yeah, I think we all do. I think we're all guilty of saying, "Oh, they could do this, they could do that." But yeah, I think it's just a thing that I go through on a daily basis, and the only reason I know it's different is because other people around me, like my partner, she'll like, what? So she'll pull us up on stuff like that, and yeah, I get lost in the detail.
It's easily done. All right then. So you've described yourself as a neurodivergent critical thinker. What does that actually mean?
Um, Well, yeah, I'm a critical thinker. I think what I've just said kind of answers that part. Neurodivergency, so it's not really something I talk about. And actually, when I met you at Elite Business Live, there's very few people that I tell that I'm neurodivergent. And when I was coming out of the army, I was diagnosed with Asperger's, which followed on from a couple of things. But when I left the army, I told my first employer, and I worked for a marketing company, and I had lots of great ideas, and the things I was delivering was good. And I just thought I meant to tell him. It asked me on the application form. I meant to tell him. So I told him. I said, "Oh, by the way, I've got Asperger's. I've got this letter from the NHS. I think I meant to give you this." And they put this meeting together. I can't really remember who was it. It was like HR and the secretary and all the and then they started asking me questions. I thought, well, no, I've got this far in life. I'm telling you because I think that's the right thing I'm meant to do. Anyway, it didn't go well for us. That's not the reason they gave me for exiting the company. But very quickly after that, yeah, I had to. They said it wasn't working, so I had to go. So ever since, I've never really told anyone that I've got a diagnosis, apart from my family and people that are really close that already know that anyway.
Yeah, I'm really sorry to hear that experience, but it isn't uncommon, isn't it? I think when people hear about autism, they have an image of Rain Man in their head and think it's going to be incredibly difficult to work with an individual, and they tend to more likely to panic as opposed to actually just sitting down because each individual is individual, really.
I mean, in the workplace, I don't think we particularly play to the strengths of the people that we have, and we have to conform to tradition, the way things have always been done. Any kind of change or innovative way of working is very difficult to propose and trying to instill. We have all these IT systems. I'm at work at the moment. I'm part of an adoption project for adopting a particular system, and it's using Microsoft Dynamics, and there's absolutely better ways that we could use this tool to improve ways of working. But because I came in at the middle of this project, people already have established the wrong ways of working, and they're very resistant to change at the moment. But this is just something that we're gonna work on as this project develops into the future. We've got various strategies and tactics that we're going to try to implement to achieve that level of change. But yeah,
Thank you for that. So, what do you mean when you've said before that you're a system breaker?
well, I tend to break things down into their components. So when you think of a service is a service management system with components. There's a start point and there's an end point. And often at that start point, it actually goes into another system. And then at the end point, it normally goes into another, or it's continuous, and then that starts to build into customer journeys and user journeys. And then you get into the realms of sales and marketing and business. But when you look at how you deliver a service, at each stage of that service, there is a component made up of technology, software, people, partners, suppliers, the organization itself. So yeah, when I'm a system breaker, I try to break it down, and then reverse engineer better ways of working. A place I used to work at was controlling the imports of cats and dogs into the UK, and they had a very linear way of working. And yeah, once I understood the map holistically, we developed a more automated batch way of working that processed a lot more, and the errors were a lot less.
Okay, thank you for that. So, as you said earlier, I was on a panel at Elite Business Live, and we met at the event.
Yeah.
And you've told me about your business, and I was totally blown away about how different it was. Tell the audience what it is that you're doing now and why you're doing it.
So you're referring to Steam Arena,
Yes, I
and
am.
that's a side project that's hopefully gonna become my full-time thing. So ultimately, I'm a dad. I've got 4 girls. Family's very important to me, and I'm not particularly happy with the world that they're adopting and growing into. I don't think the services available to them are very good. So this whole system breaking, system thinking, it was right. How do we improve this and make it better? Well, first of all, we probably need facilities. A lot happens around the area that might take place one afternoon, a couple of hours a week, but there isn't that one place kids can go where they're safe and challenged and have the opportunity to be creative. So I thought, right, we need physical establishments in the local community, and it can't be in the town centre because kids after school aren't going to travel to the town centre. Children between 0 and 12 are probably not allowed to go to the town centre without the parents. So it needs to be in residential areas. It needs to be on the doorsteps of children. And it's like, well, what do we do? Is it about play? Is it fun? And then I think back to what experiences do I want my girls to have? I want them to use that time and actually maybe learn some skills or do something fun and interesting. I mean, at the age of 5, I was cutting my granddad's grass, and as an adult, it might be a tedious job, but I loved that at 5. The responsibility of cutting the grass and doing everything that you have to do to start the job and finish it. So it's like, right, we could build this around STEAM. So STEAM standing for science, technology, engineering, arts, and maths. So if we have this space that is always reset after every session, so we're going to have wall activities and the floor is going to be quite an open space. We're going to have a music room in the back. But if we can reset this space so that it's always ready to go, we could have workshops after workshop where we might delve into the science of bridge building and get kids start to building bridges with, you could maybe start with sugar cubes, get recyclable materials, or even get some big blocks or crates and try to make some bridges. Or if it's art, we can maybe make some slime or create something really amazing with loads of different materials, or just explore a different art technique inspired by a historical artist. And then again, the music room at the back is all about inspiring art in music. And if we have this space that is just completely dynamic, then I think that fulfills the need that I'm looking for. And then the idea appealed. It seemed to be so good to me that I was like, kids are going to want this everywhere. So how do we make this national? So that's where we are at the moment. Steam Arena is going to change the world. We're creating spaces across the nation for children to come and get involved in creative, challenging, and problem-solving activities. That is simply it.
And it's quite an ambitious thing to do as well, because you've not dominated a locale yet, but you're going to go nationwide almost like straight away.
I think once we get the first proof of concept out there, so the first one's going to be in Carlisle, but if we can stay on our marketing and we can build our audience and build our community, then I feel once we've got the first steamer up and running, and once I've been able to make this intangible idea tangible and people know what a steam arena is, I think it's going to catch on. And I think people are going to start to say, yes, okay, we can put our money behind this. And that's what it's going to take: time, money, and skills from people that want to get involved to make this a thing. And it's a social enterprise. It's not about making anyone rich. It's not getting rich. All the profits are going to go back into this to either grow it or make our centres better. It's not about giving someone a quick way to get rich. That's not what it's about. So
And you've done some interesting things, haven't you, to get the idea out? Would you want to talk about that?
Um, are you on about ringing Simon Squibbs' doorbell?
Didn't you have a thing with a car?
Yeah. So we live in Carlisle, and we're a part of a community called Help Bank. And Simon, for anyone that doesn't know, Simon Squibb is a multimillionaire, homeless at 15, to millionaire. I think he's in his 40s. We'll say early 40s, and then if I get it wrong, it's still not. I'm not villainized. Um, so yeah, we went and rang his doorbell at Twickenham, which he set up, which is on the Staircase of Dreams. But we ran a campaign called "Get Steam Arena to the Doorbell of Dreams." So my sister-in-law, who's also neurodivergent, she decorated the car, and we've got that on TikTok. We got some chalk pens. She put all sorts on the car. She drew Steam Arena. She's got a local business with loads of quirky arty stuff, and she supports other local artists. So she did that, and then I built a replica of. It's not a very good replica, but I built a replica of the staircase at Twickenham, and we drove down from Carlisle to London, and it was not economical by any stretch. The drag, the wind resistance on that was incredible, to the point that we wanted to ditch it and fly tip it halfway down, but we just had to keep going. And then when we got to the doorbell, we were dressed in science lab coats, and we threw paint everywhere, and we did activities along the way. We were going into service stations and giving away some freebies. So Jolly Box supported us. They gave us a load of squishies and fidget toys to give away to any kids that we saw along the way. We had Framble, which is a social media challenge app. They challenged us at various points and paid for the fuel. So it was really good. We had team effort from loads of people. Actually, it was it's really good community to be a part of, and really good campaign to run to get us. And we got there, and the day later, Simon had got us on his live on TikTok, and we'd been lucky enough to we won £560 for our brash marketing campaign. So
Also, that neurodivergence actually helped you think out the box on how to do that.
yeah, it's funny because we take part in weekly calls. I've not been on them for a while, but yeah, we have weekly calls, and one of the people that run these calls, they said, "I just want to say before we start, Danny, you delivered a masterclass in how to get Simon's attention." And I think it's just that you just got to think, right, what is everyone else doing, and don't do that. You've got to do something else. Be creative, be imaginative. If you feel like it's cheeky, then you're doing something right. So yeah.
All right, that sounds good. So, what would you like to share with the audience now?
I don't know, maybe something that'll help people. I mean, we're talking about systems, but ultimately, I think in its raw form, it comes back to the idea of design. Everything that we have in this world is designed. It's designed to be a system, a service, a product. So when you engage, every time you spend money, there's a system behind that, and how that system or product has got your money. They've delivered a service. So maybe just be more open to the fact that that life isn't just so transactional, and things are going on, and that's where you're able to spot opportunities. We're always wanting to optimize these things, and we always want to reduce the risk. So businesses that certainly anyone that's got a business and you're looking at an opportunity, businesses want to optimize their risks. They don't want to have risk that's going to financially harm their company, or regulations that they don't want to jeopardize their reputation. So have a look at what companies should be doing that they're not doing, or ways that you can improve a system. And I think that would be really good. when it comes to you giving your sales pitch, if you've got the solution to fix that. And I think right now the world is in need of problem solvers. So if you are a problem solver, start looking for some problems to start looking for some problems to solve. So one of the things that I'm quite passionate about is sustainability, and the EU have not EU, the United Nations have 17 Sustainable Development Goals, and it's all about how we put the planet in the viewpoint. How can we design things? How can we transform our way of life to be better for the future, to be better for our communities, and just reviving biodiversity and building skills. And if we can do that, then yeah, we can drive zero emission through behavioral change and embedded integrated technologies. So yeah.
So how do you feel that your neurodivergence has actually helped you to deliver on your dreams?
I think it's going to get me there with Steam Arena. We're right at the start with Steam Arena, and my motivator for that is my family, because it means then I can then link what matters to me most, my family, against the close second work. So that would be a pretty good outcome for me. But in my current job, so I remember having a talent review development meeting a couple of months ago, and my boss Paul, he said, Danny, everyone thinks, or when people think of you, you're the person that loads a lot about a lot of things. But what is it that you do? What's your specialism? And I said, I build systems. That's what I do. I said, but to build systems, you have to know about all the interrelated components. And I said, and I wouldn't go as far as saying that I know everything. I know a lot about systems, and that's all we really need to talk about in work. So that's probably why they thought that. But yeah, it was comforting at the same time. It was a little bit like, well, yeah, my specialism wasn't so obvious to see, apparently. But that you've got that phrase. I'm a jack of all trades is a master of one. No, what is it? Jack of all trades is a master of none. But it's still better than a master of one. So there we
That's
go.
right. And I was just about to say that, because most people don't add that last line, do they? And
No.
and by not adding that last line, you kind of miss the point of the whole thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, it can definitely diminish the meaning.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so before we end, I'm just going to ask you, what would you like the audience to know now? What do you want to leave them with exactly?
I think it's prepare yourself for the future. Just keep moving. Because the rate of technology and the rate of change and transformation is only going to get faster. And I think anyone that is interested in change and transformation, now is the time to upskill. We've got AI, so machine learning. So yeah, that's the reason the rate of change is going to get faster, and governments and policy, and that's not going to be able to keep up with it unless they start adopting that technology as well. So the rate of how we live is very much going to be set by the businesses that are delivering this technology and solutions to people, more than what governments can do to keep up, because I think that they're gonna get slow.
Which is kind of a worry, isn't it?
Yeah, a little bit, because then how do you safeguard the public? I think when we put these policies and provisions in place, it's not to make anyone stay worse. We just want to make sure that people are safe. And if we can't do that, then that creates a social risk.
Makes sense. All right, then. That sounds great. Danny, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Well, thank you for having me on the show. I hope I've been all right. Like I said, I've never really done a podcast.
No, it's good. It's always good to hear how other people think and how they see the world helps inform us.
Yeah.
As well.
If I have inspired anyone on this show, do reach out to us. And if there's anything that I've said that you want to know more about, or any way that I can help you, then please do.
Brilliant. Fantastic. And thank you out there for tuning in to the Maverick Paradox podcast. I'm Judith Germain, your host, and I hope you've enjoyed today's conversation.
The Maverick Paradox Magazine. The Maverick Paradox Magazine is for the pathologically curious. Written by a swagger of socialized mavericks who are divergent thinkers, the magazine tackles the biggest issues affecting maverick leaders today. You might be a business owner or a leader within an organization who wants to have your thinking challenged, to be exposed to a diversity of thought, or to learn from diverse experts in their fields. If so, the Maverick Paradox Magazine is for you. Join the swagger at themaverickparadox.com and engage in the conversation.